We're going to switch gears and talk about how the political arena is heating up as sparks are flying as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, stirs the 2027 pot, urging the North to step back from the presidency until 2031. Is this a call for continuity or a recipe for division? To help us unpack these developments, we're joined by Bala Ibrahim, the Director of Information of the All Progressives Congress, APC, is going to be joining us virtually from Kano. And with us in the studio is Oladimeji Fabiyi, a political aide of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you, and thank you most kindly for joining me on the program tonight. 2027 is 3 years away. I suppose most of our viewers are saying, why are we discussing this? Well, just to set the tone for the conversation, let's have a listen to what the Secretary to the Government of the Federation had to say in his appearance on a program on TVC. Here's what he had to say.
Appeal to my brothers in the North to wait till 2031 to run for presidential election. It is already the time for the North to throw in the heart in the ring. It's not yet the time. Incidentally, I think with due respect, was part of that meeting. By that time, he was still governor. And also a leader, a noted leader.
And he signed on to that.
Yes. So it's not yet time of the North. This has been my appeal to them. Let us not destroy our country because of personal ambition. If it is the will of God, at 90, you can still be president of this country.
Well, let's just say Atiku didn't take that lightly. Imagine a president at 90. What kind of a president would that be? But anyway, let's dissect the issues. And I'm going to start with Fabiyi here in the studio, because I suppose you also have your two kobo to say about what Senator George Akume had to say. The North should step back until 2031, but more importantly, he said about your principle, he can be president at 90 if that is the will of God. What do you have to say?
Well, thank you very much. You see, I find it difficult to. I lack words to describe the situation, politics, democracy, Nigeria. I lack words to define it, to describe it, because when I first joined politics, it wasn't this way. The likes of the SGF that spoke, I used to know him as one of the best governors we had in PDP in those days. I remember one investment event that we had in Brussels. The party organized an investment programs, and a lot of governors came in Brussels. That was about 2005. He was there, and I had tremendous respect for him. I saw him as somebody with integrity that has stayed for so long in politics. But now hearing what he said or what he's saying, because is working under a government, or somebody whom both of them were governors at the same time, President Bala Tinubu, and talking this way, it gets me worried that our democracy is really heading for the rock if care is not taken. And the brand of politics that we're playing in Nigeria today is beginning to get me so agitated that I don't understand
what lies surprising?
What lies in the future for us.
But is that surprising? I mean, if you were in his shoes, would you be saying anything different?
But he would have said something better that would further unite Nigeria. I'm a nationalist. I don't believe that statement alone can create further division in this country, the North, the South. I don't expect somebody. It's highly irresponsible, it's ridiculous, it's fallacious for SGF to have come out and make such a by his standard and his level. But and that takes me to a point. I understand. There's nothing there. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to many Nigerians, because you can see the backlash he's having in the media. People, even APC people are not applauding him for saying this. I've not seen any single APC leader or member, somebody that said what is that, because they would not, because they know that the government is not the APC government is not performing.
Okay, I'm not sure if they're going to agree, but thankfully we have an APC person on the show. So let's speak to Bala Ibrahim now, who's joining us virtually from Kano. You are Director of Information at the All Progressives Congress headquarters here in Abuja. Where do you stand on this? I mean, Fabiyi seems to think that nobody is particularly excited about what Senator George Akume, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, had to say. I wonder where you stand on this development.
Well, thank you very much for having me on the show. But I think there is a misconception with regards to what Senator George Akume said. There is a misconception. Mark you, his was an appeal. He was not imposing or forcing anyone to take side. He appealed, and it's an issue of constitutionality and eligibility. Now, the Constitution has given anyone that is in power the right to have a term of 4 years, at the end of which he is again entitled or eligible to contest for another 4 years. Now, whether or not we have accepted this as a constitutional provision, the country has come to agree with power shift arrangement, whereby power rotates like a pendulum between the North and the South. And in each case, every time one segment of the country is in power, the agitation is that it is allowed to complete those constitutional provisions of 2 terms. And President Bala Ahmed Tinubu is just virtually 2 years into his first term. It will be unfair, it will be unjust for another section of the country, particularly the North, where power left, to start asking for power within the first term of the person that is entitled for 2 terms. I think that is the line from which George Akume was speaking. He wasn't imposing anything, and I take side with him.
Yeah, but okay, isn't that undemocratic though, if you're particularly telling Nigerians that it doesn't matter who they want to vote for, if it has to be somebody from this particular side, or perhaps an incumbent, regardless of his performance? Are you saying Nigerians don't have the right to choose who is going to be their leader?
Nigerians have the right, and competence has given them that right. If there is someone that is competent, someone that is capable, quite all right, nothing stops him from going into the race. But I tell you, as a matter of gentlemanly agreement, there has been this idea of power shifting between the 2 segments of the country, between the North and the South. And that has been operational since 1999. For somebody to come midway and initiate changes that will overheat the system and create divisions, I think it will not go down well. And anybody who tries to do that is being unfair to the democracy we are practicing, is being unfair to the agreement established, and I think it's also being unfair to the person that is intending to contest, because he's going to have a very hectic challenge.
Right. Okay, just before I segue back to Oladimeji here in the studio, the Atiku camp has responded through a statement, and it says, even if that is what we're going to consider the North versus the South in terms of political representation or heading the presidency, it is 11 years against 17 years. So there is an imbalance there. Another 4 years would make it 10 years now. What do you say to that?
Well, you see, we've had this issue since the demise of Alhaji Umaru Musa Eradua. But his was not truncated by the will of the people. It was the act of God. He died. Not that he was thrown out or he was denied the chance to contest. So if the North want to look at it from that angle, yes, the North can say that when you do the arithmetic, the North is shortchanged. But shortchanged by who? Can you challenge God? You cannot. It was not the will of the people. Now, if we go by the will of the people, where you allow majority to decide who their leader is, we have to go by the provision of this gentlemanly agreement that was done. Right. Of course, the way we are doing that is not to say that Providence cannot play its part. It's not to say that whoever is put there in place cannot die. And if he dies, what next? There is always a solution to a problem after it has happened.
Okay. Interestingly, the irony is we have Oladimeji Fabiyi from the southwestern part of the country, pushing, of course, the counter argument for this one, and Bala Ibrahim from the north pushing the direction, the conversation in the other. And that's the beauty of democracy and politics, I must say. But what is your counter to his argument?
It is convenient. Yeah. It is convenient for them to say what they're saying. It is convenient. Let me tell you what the APC as a park, what they've been doing. That about 1 or 2 things that they've been doing. Number one, because they are fixated on 2027, it has actually denying them the opportunity of giving Nigeria the good governance they truly, desired. From day one, what these guys have been doing is to fix their mind, everything on how to return to power when you have not even performed in your first term. Look at many failures of this government.
Have you concluded already? I mean, it's not about even finished the first half of the administration.
It's not about conclusion. It's about what is going out there on the streets. Look at the economy. Look at inflation. Look at hunger. Look at purchasing power. Look at petrol pump price. Look at insecurity. These are indices. These are indicators of failures, and they've not even addressed that. They are talking about 2027. That's why I said it's so insensitive of SGF to have said that it's convenient for them to be talking this way. You talk about balance, just good enough you mentioned balance of power. If it were to be other way around, would they not agitate for it? Let us be honest and be Nigerians for once, not because of politics. But everything is now, politics is about my interest. And you can see what is happening in the National Assembly where you have all those hustlers as lawmakers.
Hustlers?
They are hustlers. All of them are, 80% of them are hustlers.
That's quite a harsh.
They are hustlers. All of them are hustlers. 80% of them are hustlers. And I'll tell you, the pure definition of hustler is somebody who doesn't care. Even reason, decorum, they throw it away because of what they want to get, their personal interest.
What has the National Assembly got to do with this conversation?
That's exactly what I'm saying, because they have the majority of, the APC have majority in the National Assembly that would have made laws, that would have done things that will make this government sit up, laws, amendments, that will make Nigeria work. But are they doing it? They're not doing it. So it's easy for them to come out and be telling us this. Now, talk of balance of power. From 1999, who has had the most? Who has had the most?
But there is some
the
point.
North. It's the South.
Yeah, but there is a point to what he said.
What point?
That if Yar'Adua had not died, perhaps that wouldn't be the case.
But does that mean does that now mean that we shouldn't correct it?
Correct it in what way?
It should have, if Yar'Adua's death has created a kind of dislocation, should we not correct it?
Yeah, but some people will say that was the PDP's own making.
Then if that was the oh my God. So if that was the case, why were they now saying when Buhari was going, another cannot take it? This is the point. Out of 16 years of PDP, how many presidents do we have from South? How many years? We have 14 from the South. This is what we're talking about. So if you say it's about PDP, then they shouldn't bother about that. Then they should let PDP come up with any candidate one, either from the South or not that can win election. And that was the reason why they brought in Atiku in 2019, they brought Atiku in 2023, and PDP will still bring Atiku in 2027, whether they like. I don't know why they are so afraid. I don't know why they are so scared of Atiku. Remember Atiku makes a statement, right. APC is thrown into confusion, President is thrown into confusion, his spokesperson are thrown into confusion.
Okay. Bala, let me bring back Bala into the conversation. Are you scared about the potential of facing Atiku again in 2027? The Secretary to the Government of the Federation was saying, if God wills, he's going to be president when he's 90 by 2031. That is the calculation, even if he's 90. But are you afraid of his political currency and probably taking over power in 2027?
Please, on a serious note, Atiku is a spent force. Atiku is not a force to reckon with as far as the APC is concerned in the politics of Nigeria. Atiku has had his time. If the APC can defeat Atiku when it was less prepared, I cannot see why the APC will lose its sleep at a time that it is most prepared. Atiku is a serial loser. He has contested and contested and contested. He has been contesting and losing. And it is also, we feel, our own right to defeat him, having been defeated by other people. So we are not even looking at Atiku as an option that will give us sleepless night. Not at all. Now, when in his contribution, my friend is saying what God has done should be corrected. I don't know how you want us to correct the action of God. Is he saying the incumbent president should be killed, should die, so that we can balance up with what happened to Umar Musa Yar'Adua? Once something happened, if it is an action of God, no human being can change it. No human being can change it. But when a decision was taken by the majority of people, and we feel there is the need to change that decision, yes, democracy has given permission for that. But there is nothing you can do to change that which God has done. No way. And if you are thinking that coming come 2027, if Atiku throws his heart into the race, the APC is going to be jittered. Please wake up from that sleep and face reality.
Okay, just briefly, before I bring the conversation back into the studio. Atiku didn't insert himself in the conversation. The secretary to the government of the Federation made a point to mention him by name.
No, it's my colleague that is saying if Atiku contests that we are getting jittery. We are not getting jittery at all. What the SGF is saying, I said, was an appeal. It was an appeal that, for God's sake, let's allow this power shift arrangement where power moves between the North and the South like a pendulum to continue in the interest of peace, in the interest of our democracy, and in the interest of fairness. Let's not be asking for people to change that arrangement. And in any case, 2027 is 3 years away. For God's sake. And this government is busy trying to fulfill the promises it made to the people. The president is busy on his mandate. He's trying to see to it that he has brought changes that will endear him to the hearts of the people, so that when he puts himself again for election, he will be elected. And that is our ambition and prayers.
Right. I hear a lot of people say he who lives in a glass house shouldn't throw stones. And some would say the APC is the one throwing stones here and not necessarily the opposition. But let me bring the conversation back into the studio. That there is a sense that, there is some understanding, right? That the power shifts from north to south. I mean, we can debate whether southwest or southeast, because there's also the conversation about Igbo presidency, the Peter Obi factor and all of that. I mean, 2027, to be honest, is still, light years away, so to say, in terms of political speak. But talk to me about why this conversation doesn't need to happen now, especially when a lot of people say it's a distraction from the governance that Nigerians need to experience in the first 3-4 years of this administration before we head to the polls in 2027.
Abdullahi, who brought this matter to the public space? Was it Atiku? Was it PDP? As Atiku come out to say, I'm even running 2027? It was them. To show you that these guys have problem with Atiku. The only person they have seen between them and victory of 27 is Atiku Abubakar. They can keep denying, deceiving themselves. Atiku is a phenomenon, is their problem, and they know. But beyond that, I like the gentleman on the other side. Perhaps he does not even know, maybe he didn't think through what he was saying. He has said many things there that ordinarily we just close this conversation. Now, let me tell you one of them. In his opening remarks, he talked about constitutionalism. That is a constitutional matter, blah, blah, blah. Even if that was the way SGF has spoken, there wouldn't have been this noise about it. Because it's about constitution, it's about the people. And for them to say, because it has, then further said, two terms that the president has the right. Nobody is denying that. But the decision is with the people. Why can't you allow the people to do it, to take the decision? We just saw what happened in Ghana. We saw what happened in the United States of America. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't understand the rationale. I don't know the thinking of these guys. And that's exactly why I said, the only thing in their mind is 2027 and how to win without performing. If you had performed, let the people decide whether you are continuing or not. Okay. This is the matter.
Okay.
Kill Hidi.
Yeah. Okay. Let's put a pin on this one, because I have a feeling that with all of the developments within the PDP and the APC and the polity, in the next couple of weeks, we're most likely going to circle back and discuss some of these developments. But for want of time, we're going to have to anchor the conversation here. Honorable Oladimeji, Fabiyi, as always, a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us, and we do appreciate the analysis. Malam Bala Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us virtually from Kano. Hope to have you in the studio, and I perhaps would be expecting a much more robust conversation if both of you were in the studio. But thank you most kindly for joining the conversation also.
Thank you.
And as always, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure being here.
All right, as always. And of course, to our viewers, thank you very much for your time and company. Let's do this again. We'll be back tomorrow live and exclusive at 8 p.m. on Trust TV. Until next time, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Good evening.